Hello everybody, this is Moses from Wilona's Cave, and we are going to continue the adventure or journey of Heldin, our Hedge Witch, on the run basically, in how to play solo role-playing with the system of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, 4th edition, that's what I'm using, and I'll probably use some supplemental from the other editions, like 2nd edition, but regardless. So to recap the last episode, Heldin was surrounded by a cavalry of, military and horsemen, and saw an opportunity to help out the captain and a ranger in the battalion, and thankfully successfully rolled a good skill check to find out that the horses were being poisoned. The captain had problems of their horses being sick, and Heldin found out that there was poison. I think I mentioned purple dye on the lips or the teeth or the gums of the horse. And then they verified that the feed is a little purple in color and smells like poison. And Heldin noticed that the horse's breath smelled like poison too, or could smell poison on the horse. And in gratitude, the captain stated that I will not let anybody know. He personally said it. Now, anybody else, I don't know. But he personally said, I won't let anybody know I met you, because I'm assuming he knows that hedge witches are illegal magic users, and they're usually on the run from witch hunters, regardless if he knows Helmut or not, the witch hunter. And also told him, the horse that you checked, that horse is yours now. So that's part of a thread, is that I have to heal the horse. The horse is sick, but managed to still, Heldin managed to climb the horse and be off on her adventure, or her journey up north. So the horse is healthy enough to keep moving, but not healthy enough to make the journey. If Heldin doesn't figure out how to heal this horse. So that's the recap. So now, what I thought about this for a while. I thought, what should be happening? And I remembered that I haven't had her rest. I haven't had her be eating anything, drinking, nothing. So because of that screw up by me, see, this is because I noticed after going through my notes, my journal and my paperwork that I'm writing down for this story, or I'm going to forget everything. That's another key thing of how to play solo. You have to have a journal. You don't have to write a book, but you have to write notes. You're not going to remember anything. Trust me. You're not going to remember Ingo the Tavern Keep. Do you guys remember him? Was that 4 months ago already? Obviously he perished. Helmut took care of him. But, all these things you have to remember. You have to have a journal. So, because I didn't have her eat, drink, rest, or whatever, she passes out. Now, I didn't want that to happen. She passed out, and she wakes up. Well, this is the scene setup now through Mythic. Scene setup number 5. We're still at Chaos Factor 5, though, because we were really good. On the last episode, I dropped it from a 6. The scene setup. Heldin wakes up in a cottage filled with plants. She hears a voice outside. Now, we have to roll with Mythic on a scene modification to see if it's been modified. That's a D10 roll to see if we roll 5 or under. And if we do, then we'll get to that point later on, if that happens. So, she passed out, and she wakes up in this cottage. The smell, the aroma, the herbs everywhere, flowers, just a lot of plant life in this cottage. And there's a peace. She feels peaceful for some reason. Well, she just rested, finally. That's probably why, but she feels peaceful. She feels at ease. For a long time, she's been on the run. She's been on the run prior to meeting Ingo. I don't remember exactly, but I think I mentioned, I'll try to link it up if I remember. I did an episode of her backstory with Call to Adventure card game. And I think I mentioned in there that she's been on the run for a month. Then she went to Ingo. I think, but she's tired. And after a month or more of running and frightened, alone, she's finally at peace for some reason. Regardless. So she wakes up. Okay, now, She wakes up. She says, "Oh, what's going on here? All these beautiful flowers and everything, and this smell of herbs and fresh herbs. I don't know where I'm at, but I feel at ease for some reason." She's not panicking, which is unusual for her. She wakes up in a panic, hopefully, no one's standing on top of her, about to take her or, take her out, basically, like a witch hunter. So let's roll on for the scene setup with Mythic. Heldin wakes up in the cottage filled with plants. She hears a voice outside. Okay, so let's see if that has been modified. A D10 roll, and a 5 or less, it's been modified. And then it depends if it's odd or even. So we'll get to that point. Let's see. Let's see. A 10. No. So it is as written, as I stated. So I'll just state it again. Heldin wakes up in the cottage filled with plants. She hears a voice outside. So she could hear a voice outside, and she could hear her horse too. Just the horse is just grunting, maybe a little excited too, like it's happy as well. So Heldin, gets up, stretches, brushes off her dress, and heads outside. So Heldin is now outside the cottage, and she notices a woman petting her horse, and the horse seems to like it. The horse is relaxed. It's not shaking its head. It's not, jumping up and down, like putting its front legs up, like about to kick the woman. Nothing. It's just relaxing. And Heldin notices this, so that's good. She feels calm because she's like, oh, where am I? Who is this woman? But the horse is happy. And if the horse is happy, she's a little bit at ease. But she's still worried, where am I? So she goes up to this woman. So let's go up to her. Now Heldin is there. And the woman looks at Heldin and goes, "Oh, you're finally awake." And Heldin goes, "Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know how I got here. I don't know what's going on." And she interrupts Heldin and she says, "I found you not too far from here. You were passed out on the floor and the horse was laying next to you. The horse was not in good condition, but she's okay now." And Heldin shakes her head and goes, "What do you mean, okay? And what do you mean that you found me passed out?" "Well, I saw that there was a poison of, let's say the poison was some type of mushroom that she's aware of, this woman's aware of. And someone was trying to poison this horse. And I had the antidote in the cottage, so I just mixed up the herbs, fed it to the horse, rinsed out its mouth of all the purple poison, and the horse is doing a lot better now." And Heldin agrees and says, "Yes, the horse is at peace and so beautiful. Even I have to admit, I feel at peace. I haven't felt this way in a long time." And the woman looks at her and says, "I could tell you were out cold. Even with me hitting you with my staff, nudging you, you didn't wake up at all. So I carried you in my cottage and had your horse lay down and rest after I gave the antidote." And Heldin looks at the woman and says, "I thank you very much, but I don't know how to repay you. I don't have much money. I really don't know what to do." And the woman looks at her, and let's see if the woman knows who Heldin is. So we're at a chaos factor of 5. I'm going to put the odds at unlikely. So the roll of 35 or less on a D100, it's a yes that this woman knows Heldin. Let's see. Let's get out a D100. Here we go. A 2. It's not just under a 35, it's under a 7, and it's so close to a critical extreme yes, where I'm going to play that out. It's not a critical extreme yes, my own house rule. I roll a lot of 1 in 100s, if you all didn't notice. It's not a critical extreme yes, but it's one away. So a 35 or under, a 35, to an 8, would be This woman knows her, just for some reason. A 7 and under is a extreme yes, and a 1 is a critical extreme yes. An extreme yes is maybe she's related. Maybe she's related. I don't know. You know, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay has a table of how do I know you again? So let me roll on that. That's a D100. Let me get another D100 out. Let me see. Let me see how that goes first before I conjure up something. 63. We share a merchant father who was juggling 2 families, kept secret from each other. So they share a father. But this woman looks older. A lot older than Heldin. I gotta write this down one moment. So this woman looks a lot older. So I think that's how this woman knows Heldin. But Heldin doesn't recognize her. Probably when, like in the story, especially in the Call to Adventure backstory, they were very young when they were taken away from the hedge folk, from living in the woods, to moving them and hiding their, who they are, hedge folk, from, witch hunters and stuff like that, to the city of Ubersreich, living amongst the hedge folk that live in that city and trying to hide as well. I don't know. I haven't gone too far into that, but I think Call to Adventure game, I stated a few things. So she is, what would that be? A half-sister on the father's side. The father is the relation. And the father and mother, I don't know who they are. So they share a father, and something happened interesting. I mentioned it, I think, in my Call to Adventure video. I'm mentioning that video a lot in this one. That something happened where I had to roll on a random table in Warhammer when I'm doing character advancement for Heldin. So I rolled on random talents, and I think it rolled on a 51 or a 52. But it rolled on that either or, which is noble blood. So I think, like a nobleman had a relationship with the hedge folk and kept it a secret. He had a noble family, which is this woman's family. I don't know why she's in a cottage, but she is part of nobility, but she's in a cottage. But Heldin is part of the hedge folk where he was keeping a secret. A nobleman had basically 2 families, or had an affair, either one, with hedge folk, with a woman. And, and why is all of a sudden she's getting chased down by a witch hunter? I don't know. I hope the father's not behind it, trying to, erase his past, in a way. I hope not. I don't know yet. But anyways, that's what's going on. This is a lot going on right now, everybody. So I got to write a lot of notes. So Heldin looks at the woman and says, my apologies. I didn't introduce myself. My name is... And the woman interrupts her and says, I know who you are, Heldin. And Heldin's eyes open up, and she just can't believe, like, a random person in a cottage in the middle of nowhere that smells beautiful inside, by the way, and feeling at peace, and all of a sudden, this woman healed my horse and now knows my name? How is that possible? In her mind, she's saying this. The woman looks at her and goes, I could see in your eyes that you're very surprised that I know who you are. But I know you much more than you think. And then Heldin asks, well, how do you know me so well? And the woman responds with, in due time, I will tell you, Heldin. But right now, let's get back inside the cottage and brew up some hot tea, some, nice tea, some concoction. She'll probably come up with some herbal tea remedy for her to get, boost her spirits even more. Have a little piece of bread, something in cheese. I don't know, something like that. So now they're back into the cottage, and she's brewing tea, and also she's, putting together a little piece of bread, maybe some olive oil, a little piece of cheese, something nice and hearty that will, perk her up and not take too long to cook. The woman looks at Heldin and goes, I didn't introduce myself. My apologies. My name is Wilona. And Heldin goes, "Hello, Wilona. And thank you, by the way, for all you've done for me so far. Truly, I might not have survived out there." And Wilona replies, "You probably most likely would not have, as well as your horse. But you'll both be fine now." And let's get straight to it. So, Heldin asks Wilona, "So, can you tell me how you know me?" I don't want her to think, so how to play solo role-playing, okay? You have to think of this as a TV series. When you're watching a movie or a TV series, if you want to play solo and have it kind of interesting, right? Look what's happening right now. Okay, now, remember, there's timestamps, by the way, let me remind everybody. But remember, everyone, this is how to play solo. So I'm going to cut out a lot, meaning cut out of narrative, and start talking about how to do these things. You're probably watching going, "This is amazing." Hopefully you are. I don't want to sound egotistical, but hopefully you're saying, "This is really cool. How can I do this?" Well, this is what this is all about. So, how I'm picturing this is, I mentioned in the beginning of this series, you have to imagine yourself as Wilona or Heldin when they're talking. Right now, Heldin is, obviously we know how they're related and everything. But would you just drop that on Heldin right now? If you were Wilona, if you want to do that, it's your game. No one could tell you otherwise. There's no GM. It's your game. But that doesn't sound realistic to me, and it doesn't sound cinematic. Okay, and that's a lot to put on Heldin now, as an older half sister that probably misses and loves Heldin a lot, and can't believe that, she's here now in her cottage. And also, why is the nobility in a cottage in the first place? Or nobility blood, that is. Full nobility blood, I'm assuming, and half nobility here. Heldin is half, for anybody who's watching, listening as a podcast and not watching. I have to remember that. So, she's probably thinking, I don't want to put too much on her, okay? So that's how I'm going to play it out. So she probably says to her, "Before I tell you anything more, do you know anything about yourself? Who you are? Where you're from?" That's a good question. And Heldin, instead of rolling, is there any kind of skill? One moment. Let's roll in perception and see if Heldin recognizes her half-sister. Let's see right now. Let's see. So perception, where's my character sheet? I'm going to put this at challenging. One moment. Let me see challenging. I'm going to put this at difficult, which is a -10 to the roll. I'm going to put this as difficult. Here we go. So that's a -10. Her perception is at 45, which is pretty good. So she only gets a 35 now. So I made it a difficult, which is, let me check again. Yes, -10. So she needs to roll 35 or less. If she does, she recognizes her, but doesn't know her. But hearing her name, Wilona, and seeing her, maybe her voice too, and maybe the smell of this location that they're in now. Maybe Wilona always had like herbs and, kind of a druidic way of living. Maybe that could spawn some memories. Let's see. Okay, D100, percentile roll, 35 or less. Let's see what happens. 100. Wow, complete. What did I tell everybody? That I roll a lot of 1s and 100s. Do you see now? The last one was a 2. Almost a 1. Okay, so this is... I don't know if this is if perception you can fumble or not, but I think this is considered a fumble. Anything in the negative, or unsuccessful range, like 66, 77, 88, 100, 99. But I don't know if this is part of that. I'm just going to take this instead of going that route, if that is the rule. I don't know with perception. I know that this is pretty bad if I had a CN of 6 magic spell and I get 100 or 99. Yeah, you're in real bad shape at that point. Not so much a CN of 0 magic spell, by the way, or petty magic. So anyways, this is not how to play Warhammer, it's how to play solo. So, but here's the thing. I think I actually know, I just don't remember the right numbers. A 1 to a 5, I believe, is a automatic success for your roll. And a 95 to 100 is an automatic failure, no matter what. So Heldin does not know this woman at all. Like nothing, 0. I don't know who you are. Okay, that's what this just showed. So Vienna tells Heldin and asks her, have you ever felt, she's trying to tell her about her, trying to bring up her history of a hedge folk, spell and using spells. And she asks her, like, have you ever felt like you can control things around you, or you can control the weather, you could speak to animals or hear animals or anything like that? And remember, she, the horses of the cavalrymen, the horse that was very sick and was fighting off other, soldiers, not letting it climb on it, just really, she rolled really well for I think it was a +2 success level, or I don't remember what it was, maybe even +4, I don't remember. But anyways, she rolled a really good success level for animal care. I think it was animal care. So she's good with animals, and that horse let her, a sick horse, a lame horse even, let her jump on its back and ride off when the other men had trouble. Let's say, I don't think I said that in the past, but let's say they had trouble, because the horses don't feel well. So, and she responds with that. She goes, just before I got here, I met a lot of cavalrymen, and the horse that you healed, just let me walk straight up to it, and the other soldiers couldn't even tame it down, but it would be calm with me and stare me in the eyes. And Vienna nods her head and goes, that's because you are a well-known hedgefolk family member. Your bloodline is very strong, Heldin. And your family's not too far away. As for your mother, I don't know. Do you know my father? Okay. Do you see how solo role-playing can go, everyone? So there's a lot of people that are watching. Now we're going off on a tangent, how to play solo. Do you see how solo role-playing can go? I had no idea. Now I met my half-sister, okay? That's because of the roles. I don't know what's happening. I set up, all I have control over, and you as well with solo, is the setup. After that, everything gets changed with the roles. Do you think I was planning on meeting my half-sister? Actually, I don't know. I mean, I gotta remember it's not me, it's Heldin. Do you think I planned on Heldin meeting her half-sister? No, at all. Not at all. It could have been really bad to where she could have, tried to kill Heldin right now. This is mud, blood, and SHIT world. That's a slogan of Warhammer right there. Mud, blood. It's grim. It's cutthroat. I don't think she wants to answer. She doesn't want to answer, and she says, I may know where your father is as well, but it's not the time for that right now to answer that question, and I'm sorry, but there's some things you just can't know right now. For your own safety, let's say it like that, for your own safety, and that's probably true. And Heldin was very distraught over that and couldn't, understand why she answered that way. So anyway, okay, the tea is ready. She walks away. She gets the tea. She walks away, gets the tea, cuts up the bread, puts olive oil, whatever else, cheese, whatever, and comes back and gives it to Heldin. And Heldin Vienna tells Heldin, calm down, relax, eat, and I'm going to show you something in a little bit of something that you used to do as a child. But I'm wondering if you remember how. So they keep going and talking back and forth and laughing. Whatever. Verena's trying to stay away from the topic of daddy issues, basically. Trying to stay away from the topic of father stuff. And just, entertaining Heldin. Let's say she's very high at charisma. By the way, when I do with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, I've been playing since 1989. I've been playing a solo campaign of first edition since then for 34 years. Started with Trapper Keeper journals, and now I'm up to nice journals, and I draw pictures. And I used to draw pictures in crayon back in the day. Now I'm drawing with shade pencils and stuff like that, if you've seen my artwork on this channel. So yes, 34 years of a solo campaign, kind of like a 34-year HBO TV special. When I meet why I'm saying all that, what I've learned is easier for me through that playthrough is when I meet NPCs and they're not significant, let's say a peasant, I don't make character sheets for everybody. It's too much work, especially with this system. Dungeon World's easy. Not this system to make character sheets for everybody. So everything's a 30 skill levels, everything, with characteristics, everything's a 30. Okay, no advances, no nothing, and maybe I'll sprinkle in some talents, let's say, here and there to make them interesting. Okay, so someone like her that I'm not too sure who she is, but I know she's not just a simple peasant. I put at 40, so everything she has is at a 40. Okay, and then if someone I know, so let's say I meet, let's say, Helmut, I took the pre-generated character sheet of a witch hunter from the starter box of Warhammer, but if I didn't have that, I would make him all 50s and something 60s, like weapon skill, and a few talents here and there, but I keep it simple, 30, 40, 50, and sometimes 60, like a major, boss or something big. Anyways, that's how to play. That's to help you play solo, to make it faster for you. That's what I do. So they're done eating and talking. Okay, so let me change it up a bit here. So they're talking and eating, and they're just about done. And Verena tells her that there's something I want to show you, and let's see if you know how to do it anymore. You used to do it a lot as a child, like I mentioned before. So what that is, and I'm opening my character sheet right now, packet, for Heldin. I hope I pronounce this correctly. So it's a CN of 0, range of view, target. I'll put up a screenshot of what it is, but I think the pronunciation is Godspunk. Okay, so what this is, and I'll read it quickly because there's people that are listening in, and like I said, there's timestamps. In ancient times, the blessed few struck many pacts with the spirits that inhabit the hedge. Verena is going to try to see if Heldin can do this spell. It's a CN of 0. Okay? So, what this spell is, for all the ones that can't read it because they're listening in, is when casting the spell, you must select both the spirit and the task you wish them to perform on your behalf. So basically what this is you can cast this spell, and a little spirit, let's say a smoke figure, but the size of I'm not too sure, but the picture looks like it's the size of your head or your hand, not too big. And you could have it do a task. It could be task of something simple. It gave a few examples, but in payment to it, because you're supposed to, let's see, though most will demand something in return, as is their right under the pacts of old. But Verena knows that Heldin can do it, but obviously Heldin doesn't remember. So here's a caveat here. As a payment to the spirit, this is what it states. This might be simple, a song sung in their name, or a drop of wine spilled at their feet. But for a more formidable task, a greater boon is always required. So it can go to, if you're asking, bring someone back to life, let's say. I don't know if it could do resurrection, but the bigger you're asking it to do, the bigger the sacrifice you need to offer and give. So Verena talks to Heldin and says to her, sit down on the floor with me, please. And they both sit down, across their legs. She tells Heldin to breathe in, breathe out, and while they're doing this, she grabs some herbs from the desk over here and starts shaking it over her head. And there's a little bit of powder that comes off of it, and it's really potent but sweet smelling to help calm her down even more. And she tells her to imagine a body of water. And she imagines a body of water. And now she says, I'm going to teach you how to use the spell, one moment, Godspunk. I hope I'm saying it right. And she says, okay, and what does this do? This is going to produce a spirit that can do a task for you if you would like. And she concentrates and concentrates, and let's see on the roll. Okay, let's get the character sheet out. So her language magic skill is 48, so 48 or below on a D100. Let's see if she could do it. 45, almost didn't make it. So 45, but she's successful. So all of a sudden, the room got a little quieter, and something appeared in front of Heldin. It was a water spirit, and Heldin was amazed, and she rubbed her eyes. She couldn't believe it. She goes, I had this power all along? And Wilona answers, yes, you were very good at this, and you were the first to learn it in our family. You learned it before I did. You learned it at the age of, let's say, 3. At the age of 3. No one's ever learned that quickly on the spell of Godspunk. I guess that's how you say it. And Heldin responds, I never knew this. I'm in shock. And Wilona says, okay, now ask the spirit to give you a cup off of the shelf, off of the countertop. And Heldin asks, can you give me that cup over there? Let's say the cup over here. The spirit nods, floats over there, picks up the cup, comes back and drops the cup in front of Heldin. And the spirit basically puts out its arms, like meaning it's time to give me something for what I just did for you. Now, this is a very simple task. So Wilona says that she is asking now for your tribute for doing the task. And Heldin goes, well, I don't know if I have anything important. And she says, it was such a very minimal task. Don't worry. Just give a piece of your bread that you just ate, but dip it in oil. So she gets the piece of bread that she was eating, but wasn't finished yet completely. And, just maybe just a big little, to her a crumb, but to this spirit, a good morsel. Dips it in the rest of the olive oil and hands it to the spirit. The spirit smiles at her and slowly disappears. And Heldin looks at Wilona and says, I'm amazed. That's just amazing. But Wilona says, I know it must be amazing for you, Heldin, but there comes a time where you may need their help, and the larger the request, Heldin, the larger the tribute. It could be your eye color, it could be your beautiful skin, or it could be a memory of a loved one. The greater the request, the greater the tribute. Do you understand me, Heldin? And Heldin agrees, yes, I understand. Now both of them start slowly standing up. Now, when I created Wilona, I don't know too much about her, but I do know her career, because I have to make a character sheet for her. And I know a little bit about her history. I didn't know they were going to be half-sisters, though. And neither does Heldin doesn't know that right now either. But I didn't know that was going to happen. So I'm showing you it is randomized. I'm not trying to just write a story for all of you or for myself, because I'm being entertained as well right now, because I have no idea what's happening from scene to scene, or as much as possible. I have to know a little bit or nothing happens. But with her, she is a druid, hence all the peace and the herbs and the flowers, etc., and how she's so good with the horse and healing the horse, etc. So much like Hayden's history, I did with Call to Adventure, I did with Wilona too. I just didn't film it. Her history is she was a professor of some sort in Altdorf, the colleges of magic. I think it's Jade is for the druids. Jade, I think. And she had to do something, and when I pulled up the cards, she had to do something that I don't know what it was. I didn't decipher, and I didn't want to know exactly. I wanted to come out in the role-playing of this channel. But she did something like, let's say, saving someone's life or something big. And the reason why I say it like that, she had to do this in order to save somebody's life, maybe? She tapped into dark magic or chaotic magic or chaos. And it didn't go so well. I think it worked, but it didn't go so well for her because she received a mutation. I forgot which card it was, but I interpreted it as a mutation because I know the lore of Warhammer, and you dip into too much bad stuff, you're going to get mutated, and that's part of the reason why Sigmar I think that's the lore. Not created meaning, made the humans, but started the profession or the career of, witch hunter and vampire hunter or vampire slayer to take out mutations and to take out magic users and or illegal magic users way back when. I actually don't even know the time frame right now, to be honest, in the old world of this series. But that's the whole point of witch hunters. To take out the mutations. And throughout the Empire, by the way, there's mutants everywhere. They have maybe one finger is actually the toe of a vulture or whatever, like the talon of a vulture or an eagle, one finger, and they keep on they probably just cut the finger off to hide it. There has to be a plethora of people in the old Empire, or in the Empire, that are mutated. They're just hiding it. And that's where the witch hunters are, you need to sniff them out. That's what it's all about. So anyways, she's mutated. Now, what I came up with is she has a tail. Let's say a green tail. And she's wearing a dress right now. So it's hidden. But I just thought about this, by the way. I thought about adding this in now because she's getting up. She crossed her legs sitting down. Now she's slowly getting up. Does Hayden notice Wilona's tail? So that's another perception check. Let's see. And that's a 45 or less. Let's see. 39. Hayden noticed. Now I'm curious. So Hayden noticed, didn't say anything. She saw a tail, and she knows about mutants. So she knows this woman has been, dipping into the little dark magic. A little more about her later on, probably. I don't want to mention it now because there's something interesting in the cards that I rolled out for her, or drew for her, with Call of Magic, or Call to Adventure, sorry. There's another interesting thing about her, but I'll leave that later on and hopefully get to it in the narrative in the future. If we still are around Wilona, we'll find out. I don't know. So Hayden notices, but let's see if Wilona notices that Hayden noticed. Kind of like looking at Hayden's face and Hayden's eyes wide open, and Wilona looks down and goes, "Oh, my tail," and tucks it back into her skirt. Noticing that Hayden noticed. So let's do a perception roll for her if she noticed Hayden noticing, which is, remember what I said, 40s all around, basically, and maybe sprinkle a 50 here and there, but perception is going to be a 40 for her. So let's do that. 42. Okay, so she almost caught her eye. So she kind of looked at Hayden, but Hayden at that simultaneously lifted her head up to stare at Wilona's eyes, and Wilona kind of squints her eyes like, "Did you just notice my tail or not?" I guess not. I don't want to mention anything. So now Hayden knows that this woman is a mutant, has a mutation, and that's never a good thing. You know, to get a mutation, you had to do something bad or touch the stone. Something chaos got in you, you know, or something happened, or a spell, etc. You know, so that's not good. So now to mix it up a little bit, might as well just have some fun. And this is also how to play solo. So now we're at this screen. I went to this screen for, right now just to go back to how to play solo role playing. So if you feel as though, you know what, I don't know what else to do right now. And I kind of don't either, because now I'm like, maybe Heldin just wants to leave because this woman's a mutant, but doesn't know it's her half sister. So if you're stuck, the best thing to do if you're using Mythic, you don't have to use Mythic. There's tons of other oracles, or you could even use ChatGPT. You could roll on the random event focus table. So this is very good to roll on. It's a D100. So let's roll on it and see if just something random happens. There are good things. Let's see, like, you know, new NPC. A lot of things that could be good, because you have to roll on here, and then if it's not too direct, you got to roll in the action and I just noticed I have 2 actions on here. Let me delete one of them. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now it's an action and a subject. Whoops. Oh well, we didn't roll on any of them, but we might right now. So now we have an action and subject. So let's roll a random event focus, and let's see what happens. This is good to do. So there's rules in Mythic to use the random event focus table. One is if you roll doubles underneath your chaos factor. So a 44, 33, 22, 11, and then also in your scene setup, where you have to roll in the random event focus table if you roll to be modified, your scene setup. So regardless, let's just, or you could do it whenever you want. If it gets stagnant, just use it. So let's see what we roll. D100. 55. Move towards a thread. Okay, now, okay, cool. That's good. Well, maybe. Let's see what I have. I have Heldin tries to become a citizen again in Ubersreich. Find an exit out of the tunnel, which we checked off. Okay, so not that one. Find hedge folk. Well, that'll be interesting. So that's 2. Heal the horse. Oh, that's already done. Let me mark that off. And then continue running away from Helmut. So I have 2 good and 1 bad. So we're going to roll a D3, which is a D6 divided by 3. So 1 to 2 is 1. 3 to 4 is 2. 5 to 6 is 3. So 1 will be Heldin tries to become a citizen, again in Ubersreich, which will be interesting. I don't know how that's going to work out. 2 is going to be find hedge folk. That'll be really cool. And 3, obviously, is run away from Helmut. So in this case, move toward a thread, I'm going to interpret it as Helmut's going to be knocking on the door again. So let's roll a D3, and if it rolls on Helmut, that means we got a visitor. Roll D6. There we go, a 6. How did he find us? Well, there's 2 tables right here that could tell us why. So Helmut has arrived, and we will have to find that out in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of How to Play Solo Role-Playing with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and I also hope you learned something about how to play solo as well. Now let me do some quick bookkeeping with Mythic. Any new characters? Yes. Heldin met Verena. Any new threads? I will add who is Heldin's father. Now as for the chaos factor, due to this episode being pretty balanced, Heldin got to rest and eat. And she also found out she had an amazing spell that she wasn't aware of, and also her horse is now healed. For the first time on this channel, I am not going to change the chaos factor and keep it at 5. And that will conclude the bookkeeping with Mythic. Thank you all for watching, and happy gaming everyone. Bye.